Following this, the Northern York County Regional Detective immediately went to see about rendering aid. He immediately went down first to his fallen officers from Northern York County Regional Police Department by the house and discovered detectives that were non-responsive. Detective Sergeant Cody Becker, Detective Mark Baker, and Detective Isaiah Emanheiser were all killed following the brutal ambush that was committed upon them by the actor. The final Northern York County Regional Detective was critically wounded. The other Northern York County Regional Detective immediately began to render aid, as he also called out to have responses from other law enforcement and other emergency responders. After rendering aid there, he realized that the deputy sheriff was also critically injured. The detective for the Northern York County Regional Police Department responded to the deputy sheriff and immediately began rendering aid to him as well. From the time period when the detectives arrived at the front door preparing to enter to when the shooting stopped, they arrived at the front door at 2:08 p.m. All shooting had stopped by 2:10 p.m. and 16 seconds. At 2:14 p.m., the first additional officer arrives, another member of the Northern York County Regional Police Department. The detective rendering aid to the deputy sheriff requests that the other Northern York County Regional officer go over and place handcuffs upon the actor, not knowing his full status at that point. That was done so. And then numerous other law enforcement agencies and emergency personnel came to the scene to assist and render aid. The Pennsylvania State Police, as mentioned previously, took over lead in the investigation assisted by our county detectives. Numerous law enforcement agencies came to help to secure the scene, help with any rescue efforts. And when I say numerous, I can't tell you how proud I am of every single law enforcement officer in this whole county. They all came from everywhere to be there to help in any way they could. A search of the scene revealed numerous locations of various ballistics evidence that in a future briefing we will be able to catalog to go ahead and explain what it is following ballistics testing and following other information. Needless to say, at this point in time, from what I was able to observe on scene as shown and explained to me by the investigators, it corroborates fully what we have just stated and also shown through visual and also through other interviews. Inside the house, besides discovering the initial casings from where the actor began his barrage of murderous activity, they also discovered in the basement that he had killed the black Labrador that was owned by his ex-girlfriend's mother, shot one time. We are currently investigating further aspects of motive. So we will not speculate on the full profile of the actor. Numerous other search warrants have been executed. Other things are being analyzed. There is one motive, though, that is clear for everything, and that is the hateful scourge of domestic violence. That is what brought us here. That is what brought law enforcement here. That is what started all the activity. The whole sequelae is there. And yes, thanks to the actions of the Northern York County Regional Police Department, supported by the York County Sheriff's Department, we have 2 lives of the residents there that are saved today. Because make no mistake about it, and this I can conclude by all reasonable inferences from all information without speculation. Had they arrived home and not Northern Regional Police Department officers arrived, they would have been killed immediately by the actor. Again, that is not speculation. That is the absolute only reasonable inference from all actions. The detective from Northern Regional who was injured was of course rushed to York Hospital, as you all know, taken into surgeries, was critical but stable. The same is for the deputy sheriff from the York County Sheriff's Department. We are very blessed and thankful that they are stable. In terms of some legal aspects, one of the things that I wanted to make clear of right now, although it be crystal clear and obvious to any human being on the planet, but just to make sure that this is articulated legally, all actions by law enforcement were justified. They weren't only justified, they were necessary. And we are so thankful and appreciative to them, and especially our Northern York County Regional Detective who fired the last shot and who rendered the aid. I can't imagine the strength and the fortitude that it takes to immediately, after having seen and been engaged in that, and going down to see what you observe, to be immediately thinking of rendering critical aid and engaging in life-saving action. He saved many lives that day. If the actor was not eliminated and his threat and murderous rampage eliminated, who knows where this would have stopped. Detective Sergeant Cody Becker, Detective Mark Baker, and Detective Isaiah Emanheiser were all credits to law enforcement. I personally knew them very, very well. They were wonderful. They were mission-driven, and that day they continued their mission. Well, their mission is now complete. You kept the faith. You ran the race. You fought more than a good fight. You fought the critical fight for us. Job well done. Mission well served. And we will love you forever and all eternity. Final comment I want to make is about York County. This is my home. This is our home. We've gone through a lot this year. We've been at podiums like this too many times. And when you go through that, when you go through these sorts of things, it can seem very, very dark and dire. And you can begin to lose faith and hope. And I'm going to tell you, last night, there were a lot of us feeling that way, and I personally was too. And then when I left the scene and went over to the coroner's office when it was in the procession, and we're going down the roadways, and all you saw all along those roadways were members of our community And they were standing there in the rain for hours to watch our law enforcement standing there, the old, the young, families, children, waving American flags, waving flags and holding signs saying, "Back the blue," showing their love and appreciation for law enforcement. And all I could think is, there's the light. There's Christ's light that drives out Satan's darkness. We are a great community. We are a safe community. We are a loving community. We are there for each other, and we need to be together to be love and light, and we will demolish hate and darkness by doing so. And by God, with every fiber of our beings, we will do that. This county will always be there for our law enforcement. And our law enforcement will always be there to protect and serve you. God bless you, York County, all that you are, all that you stand for. And we are so proud to serve you every moment of every day. With that, I'm going to ask my dear friend, Dave Sunday, to speak. And before I do, I want to mention something special about him. Yes, he's our Attorney General, and yes, he was the former DA. But he plays a more critical role in our lives, and in my life in particular. He's one of the best friends I have. And he came to the scene last night, not to be Attorney General, not to be a politician, not to even go ahead and be extra law enforcement. He came there at my request because we needed his friendship and love. And you know what in life? That's more important than anything else. And more important than calling him my former colleague, my former boss, and our Attorney General. I call him my friend. So my friend, if you'd like to say a couple words.